Line up, you f***ing nerds. Who wants a shot at the champ?
They bring the heat.
Francis Ngannou is the hardest puncher in the history of fighting.
They bring the knowledge.
If you think this fight is going 5 rounds, you are out of your mind.
They bring you the picks.
The dog is getting it done in this one.
We deliver every single week. We're bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
The money line.
Don't miss it on the MMA Experts channel each week.
The Money Line. We are live on a special Wednesday night edition of the show. I am AJ, joined as always by my guy, Mike Finch. What's happening, my friend?
I'm good, brother. Here on a Wednesday, and it's my fault. I just started a new job. I am one of the managers over at UFC Gym Rosemead, managing a big group of badass trainers. So if you want to get a workout and you're in LA, hit me up.
Hit up the Finch, man. Go see him in person. Somebody's got to show up. We've had people talk about going in chat, but nobody's actually walked through the gym doors. So I challenge somebody to go pop up and at least say what's up to the Finch, man. Starting it off, Mike, we actually got a dono in chat pre-stream. Joe Dirt, who's a gem of the community, first and foremost, we have to say it. $9.99. Joe Dirt, the kind words always, the good vibes always. Thank you, man. We appreciate you a ton, Joe Dirt. Hell yeah.
Joe Dirt, you are always consistent with it. I appreciate that very much, my friend. Joe Dirt, always dropping a comment, always watching every single week. We appreciate our regulars. Thank you, Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. He dropped the line actually for you. He said, line up, you fucking nerds who want the shot at the Finch champ. Shout out to Joe Dirt.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Yeah, that belt's been on the shelf for a while, but I appreciate the shout out, bro. I appreciate that. That's awesome, Joe.
Man, what a card last week. And obviously we're going to get into this week's card here soon, but I think we have to reflect on what went down this past Saturday, especially with you, Finch, man. Obviously I want to hear your thoughts. Let's just go main event and then we'll cover some of the key fights on the card. We obviously saw a breakout performance and, you know, kind of like a real passing of the torch with Arman Tsarukyan starching Beneil Dariush in a minute. Was a violent knockout that I think puts Arman Tsarukyan at the upper echelon of the division. And I could see him real close to the title picture. In a perfect world where the divisions are just, he'd probably fight Dustin Poirier, even though I don't think that's going to be the next matchup. I feel like number one contender fight next, certainly.
I want to see him crack into that top 5 right there. There's that top 5 that's just hogging those spots. Yes, you got Poirier, you got the BMF Justin Gaethje, you got Charles Oliveira. I mean, that top 5 in there, Michael Chandler. I would love to see him in one of these matchups, man. It's time now. As Bruce Buffer says, it's time. And that would be really cool to shake it up because all those guys have fought each other, right, AJ? Why not see a matchup that's fresh, that's new? Arman Tsarukyan is that phenomenal wrestler, and now he's showing us the knockout ability at a high level against a tough Beneil Dariush who was slamming some kicks in there, who was ready to go to war for 5 rounds. He gets him out of there in the first damn round. I mean, you got to reward the guy. You could just see the emotion when he was celebrating that victory, man. Big deal for him. He went from smacking Bobby Green in the lobby to jumping on top of the fence. And I guess we got to talk about that Bobby Green one next.
We will. We're going to get into that Bobby Green one. And I'm getting shit on by my guy, the Bob, a real shit show on the picks last week for everybody, for the most part. Besides,
who had them all right? Comment if you had all the picks right.
Covert actually did. I got to respect Covert in chat because he had a good betting week because he's just Mr. Against the grain normally. And now it works out for him last week in what was a weird card. Sure. But I called the knockout in this main event. Shit on the picks on the undercard all you want. I did call the knockout in the main event for Tsarukyan, and damn did he look good. My matchmaker hat is on, Mike, and realistically, I'm kind of pushing in the direction of Gamrot Tsarukyan too. I know it's not as anticipated as maybe a Dustin Poirier fighter, somehow Tsarukyan getting a BMF shot, but he hasn't beaten anybody aside from Beneil that's in that top 10. Mateusz Gamrot still has a win over him, regardless of what everybody thinks about the result. And who's going to complain about a rematch with both guys surging right now? And I think the winner of that really is now shifted to that top caliber and ends up fighting in a number one contenders fight. So I'm actually down to see it again. Right the wrong for Sarukian, or for Gamrot, shut everybody up who said it was controversial.
I guess so. I mean, it was a good fight. It was definitely an interesting fight. You remember my diagnosis of that one was, here's two guys we're going to see challenge for the title. Here's two of the best lightweights in the world. Here's the future of the lightweight division. It wasn't a bad pick now that we're in end of 2023 here, right? Tarzan Strickland, you're insane for that comment. How dare you?
What did he say? Early stoppage? Tarzan. This
Nah,
one's
above it, I believe. He said about Bobby Green.
Yeah. What do you say about Bobby? I can't even find them. I'll bring up this one right here. He said something. This was discussed on my live stream earlier in the week. They're saying that you look like Steve Garcia now, Finch. It went from Urseg, now Steve. I honestly don't see that one. The Steve Urseg one is meme worthy. It's funny. I don't know. With Garcia, I don't see the comparisons, to be honest. He's got a goatee.
Have you ever seen a more Caucasian man than me? You're gonna say Garcia? What are you guys talking about? Come on, bro. Come on.
That's funny, man. It's funny. Listen, let's keep running down. Let's get to the co-main. We got to talk about it. Jalen Turner destroyed Bobby Green. It proved to be a great decision to take that fight on short notice. Holy shit. Was it late? The stoppage was terrible. Bobby Green was clearly out when he hit the ground. I thought you stop it right away. Kerry Hatley lets him take ferocious ground and pound. There's actually rumor mill going on that Arman Sarukian made a call to Kerry Hatley before the fight. They have some mutual friends, and he threw him a little extra bag of that win bonus if he was going to stop it late.
You had me for a second. I'm like, what is he talking about, bro? Arman made a call. What the fuck did they talk about? AJ, worst stoppage of the year. No?
Yes.
I mean, that was really brutal, brother. I texted my friends. I said, I feel like I was just scrolling through Instagram and one of those Gaza videos just popped up. I am disgusted, bro. That shit was brutal. It was a real beatdown. And Bobby Green being flat out on his face, I reacted like MMA Guru did. I was disgusted, bro. I was yelling at my TV. I looked away for a second. I mean, that was so bad. It's not a little late. You know, there are those where you're like, that guy took an extra shot. AJ, how many extra full power punches did Jalen Turner throw? That has to be a referee's suspension. We have to see action on something like that. That was disgusting.
And, you know, Kerry Hatley, for the most part, whenever I've seen him referee, does a fairly good job. I've never had any complaints about him previously. But that was one of those stoppages that could be career changing because there were so many shots to the unconscious fighter that I agree with you, man. I feel like I would like to see Kerry Hatley. Granted, I've heard through back doors with Dana White's interview that Hatley agrees it was a bad stoppage and he admits to making a mistake. But I'd kind of like to see him come out and be public about it and, you know, apologize maybe to everybody. And we have to maybe get a, updated course or something like that for him to go through some type of repercussion more for the fact that it's like, that's a dangerous stoppage, man.
Kerry Hatley needs to apologize to Bobby Green's prefrontal cortex. I mean, Bobby Green might never be the same after a ugly curb stomping like that. That was some shit you see on World Star Hip Hop when a bunch of jackass teenagers don't know when to step in and pull somebody off of a fight. That's not what you see in a regulated MMA fight. What the fuck is a referee there for if you're going to let somebody take that many shots when they're face down out? I'm surprised Jalen Turner even kept punching. AJ, it was so fucked up that I'm even a little upset at Jalen Turner. It's like, you know when Mark Hunt knocks somebody out and he steps away? That would have been a lot better for Bobby Green's health because he landed full power over and over and over again. Not just a late stoppage. I'm disgusted.
Dude, this is great. That was a worse beating than AJ took at the club. That's funny as shit. Oh my God. I agree.
Shit.
I agree. Shit. He was out getting pounded, man.
Oh shit. That's way worse. Way worse, man. At least AJ was landing some shots, flying knee apparently. That's the word on the street.
That's a strong word.
Yeah, I don't ever want to see that again. I don't ever want to see that referee again. There has to be action. If there's not action on that, like what, it wasn't just a bad job. Again, like referees fuck up all the time. They're just human beings. There was no excuse for that.
None. I agree. Vicious stoppage. That was a bad look. But before that, there was a great moment for Davison Figueiredo, who bursted onto the bantamweight scene with a dominant win over top tier Rob Font, who really holds a good spot in that top 9, top 8. I feel like for Davison Figueiredo, he looked just as good, maybe more powerful at 135 pounds. And it made me think, damn, he's an interesting player in this division. Obviously, I know you called this one, Finch, and him training at Fight Ready, I'm standing with it. Fight Ready Figueiredo is a different animal than the Figgy that we saw last time versus Brandon Moreno.
Thank you.
Piotr Jan Figgy, what are we doing?
Davison Figueiredo can wrestle, and people just didn't know. But, I got to be a fly on the wall over there at Fight Ready when Davison Figueiredo was getting ready to take the title, which he did from Moreno. So I saw the Henry Cejudo wrestling influence, and you just saw it flourish this time. Henry was posting on his Instagram, him training with Davison Figueiredo. We all saw how Corey Sandhagen was able to out-wrestle Rob Font. So I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. I'm not surprised. It was crazy to see the size difference. So I don't know if that's going to work that well against the whole division. I mean, that's a bit of a jump. But against Rob Font, who, by the way, I did get to see Rob Font train as well. I watched Rob Font do an entire round with Patchy Mix. I will not report on what I saw on that one because that would be rude. But I picked Davison Figueiredo, and he definitely was able to get off the offensive wrestling, which he'd been working with Henry Cejudo, who's an Olympic gold medalist, folks. It's really good wrestling technique, man. I've watched Henry teach wrestling a couple times now. He came over to UFC Gym Huntington Beach and taught some wrestling to the kids under Jacob Harmon. He's a really good coach, AJ. I mean, when you got an Olympic gold medalist showing you wrestling, there's just something it does for your confidence in those takedowns. You saw Davison Figueiredo have confidence in himself in there. He hit those takedowns nicely. AJ, you're talking about his explosiveness. Brother, he doesn't have to cut weight. I think that weight cut was awful for him. Now, he isn't a big, he's used to being a bit of a weight bully. He definitely doesn't have that anymore, but it really helps out his natural explosiveness, which is just how he fights.
You could fight Piotr Jan next, who's an inch shorter than him.
I like that, man. I like that. Piotr Jan can't catch a break. I mean, the dude could use a nice little comeback fight. You got to give him the You got to give him the God of War, but I bet they will.
I think that might be the one. We shall find out. Overall, the big 3 fights on the card, I think, absolutely delivered. But we got one more that I got to mention here, and that was the fight before. It was Sean Brady, who destroyed Kelvin Gastelum in every position. And obviously, Gastelum, I went with as underdog Lock City, and I got absolutely shit on last week with Sean Brady dominating in the grappling positions, man. So I had to quickly mention that one as well, because you guys know, wins, losses, or draws, I ride with my picks, and I let you know the truth. I'm not fucking hiding nothing. Yeah, I got an ass pick last week for the lock, but I'm bouncing back this week, Mike. And you know what that means? I want to get into this breakdown.
Hey, AJ, really quick. Mike Perry versus Eddie Alvarez. Come on, bro. We're going to pretend like that shit did not happen, AJ.
I forgot. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, you're right.
Come on. No, we usually talk about what we're going to talk about before the card, so I didn't even bring it up. We just jumped on. AJ, Mike Perry is an animal, and that was a really, really cool 4 minutes, man. Holy moly. Those guys went to war, and Eddie Alvarez is tough as they come, but even Eddie Alvarez doesn't make it out for the third round, the 5th minute. Doesn't even make it out for it against Mike Perry. Mike Perry's a problem. He's calling out Darren Till. He wants Anthony Pettis. He actually didn't specifically say Nate Diaz, but that would be an interesting one. He's trying to find a super fight, man. Dave Mandel's like, dude, are you going to fight a BKFC fighter? I'm right here. I've got the actual BKFC belt. Mike Perry, is not seeing him, man. Mike Perry's on this pay-per-view level, so we'll have to see what happens with Perry and BKFC, but big W for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. Big W for Mike Perry.
As good as Dave Mundell is, and honestly, I'd favor him to potentially even beat a Mike Perry. If you're talking about real bare knuckle skill, if you're a hardcore bare knuckle fan, you know that Dave Mundell is extremely good. But the truth of the matter comes to this. It's all about followers right now with Mike Perry. The fights that make sense are Masvidal, are the likes of Anthony Pettis, Darren Till, or even a rematch against Eddie Alvarez, which I definitely think Dave Feldman's into. He talked about doing it in Philly. As much as that eye got damaged, like you could imagine if that fight went longer, holy shit. It was competitive, and Mike Perry got wobbled a bit by Eddie Alvarez, who's definitely got some speed in his hands, and I still think he's got a lot of fight left. I would be down for the rebooking, but I won't lie to you. If we get Jorge Masvidal in bare knuckle fighting championship against Mike Perry, that could be one of the coolest fights ever.
You think Masvidal wants to smoke?
I mean, shit, give him a bag. Why would he say no to, million plus?
Is that what they're going to generate? Maybe. Masvidal really is a star, so I don't want to downplay him. I think Masvidal is going to meet a bigger dog when he fights Mike Perry, man. Everybody's so high on Jorge Masvidal's hands. I don't know. Here's something I'll say, and I said this before the Eddie fight. If you guys ever watch our a Bare Knuckle Bets show, which AJ and I host for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, I was there live watching Luke Rockhold versus Mike Perry. You can see the openings. Like when Mike Perry's storming a dude down with that big ass head and that flat nose, you could just see how you could punch it. Like you're not seeing an elite defense or something, but bare knuckle, Mike Perry slams those punches in there. It's just different. Eddie Alvarez could touch him, and when he was on his defense, when he's on his bike, as they say in boxing, on your bike, meaning what happens when you stop pedaling your bicycle? You fall over, right? So if you're on your bike, you're in motion, right? When Eddie Alvarez was in motion, he was actually doing fine, maybe even getting an edge on Mike Perry. The problem was when Eddie was going on offense, he was getting cracked. And it's a total different feeling when Eddie Alvarez punches you in the face versus when Mike Perry punches you in the face. Mike is throwing his ass into every shot. You could really, really hear the punches on Luke Rockhold's face ringside. That's not the type of kinetic energy that Eddie Alvarez develops. You can say the same thing about Jorge Masvidal. You could say the same thing about Darren Till. When the gloves come off, you better hope Mike Perry's on your team.
Mike Perry, I think, as far as crossover UFC to bare knuckle, freakish, man. Like, this is his sport. Now, if you did go out and fight a Dave Mundell, I'm not saying Mundell's a lock to beat him. I just want to throw that out to the people, too. I think it's a compelling fight. Now, Mike Perry has 2 wins over Dave Mundell, which is the reason I think that Mike is less interested, is because of the fact that they have fought before as an amateur in MMA and as a pro in MMA. That was the fight preceding Mike Perry's UFC career. So I feel as though Perry's like, I got the most violent belt right here, the king of violence. I want to do my thing with that. I want to fight the super fights. I want to make as much dollars as possible. And you can't really blame him, because you want to get the casual eyes and, UFC fans alike, and even just boxing fans too, that might be interested in crossover. Mike Perry's the guy, and you need somebody that generates the name. Who more than Masvidal? Like, think about him and Masvidal, the king of the freaking 305, taking down Mike Perry. Let's run it, man. That's what I want to see.
I think that would be really fun. I think that's a great one, man. And, that's probably like plan A. And if you're listening to Mike Perry, which I have been, that's what Mike Perry wants. Plan A is Jorge Masvidal, but he's not really making a big, strong call out. He's kind of like, hey, he's my friend. I like Jorge Masvidal. Let's do this. I don't know if that's how you sell that fight, right? It would be a little more fun to have some beef. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. If Jorge Masvidal wants the fight, I bet it happens. Is Jorge Masvidal contractually obligated to fight in the UFC?
I'll be honest with you, I don't actually know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out, right?
I don't know. I generally have no clue. Was the retirement like a trick to try to get out of the contract? I don't know. I don't have access. If somebody knows, let us know, but I don't even know if that's public record at this point. I don't know how many fights he's got left. But what I do know is next time he's on, maybe a Hawani show or some type of, radio / podcast style show, I'd be very interested in hearing if he talks about Mike Perry. Masvidal so far has been silent on the call out too, which not a good sign to make a fight happen, but I want to see it nonetheless.
Pick'em MMA, I'm untimeoutable. That's right. Peehee, we need Mike versus MVP too. Yeah, but the UFC allegedly is picking MVP up, so that ain't happening. And then I saw one more. Man got a violence belt, BMF belt, not the champ. Zero MMA, you remind me, it's the BMF, right? Versus the King of Violence. These are like it's the right fight. AJ, I do like that one.
BMF versus King of Violence, bro. Like, that would be crazy. If I'm the UFC, would I cross promote that though? Like, would they be interested in bringing Mazza?
The
Probably not.
UFC,
Yeah.
AJ, they wouldn't cross promote to do Fedor versus Brock Lesnar. You think they're going to cross promote with BKFC? Do you remember seeing Dana White's face when he was asked about Conor McGregor at the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships event? Do you think Dana White is cross promoting with Dave Feldman?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Unfortunately. Listen, let's get into the breakdown. We got a UFC Vegas 83 fight card that's definitely worth talking about. First fight on the card, we have Amanda Dos Santos versus Talita Alencar. I'm going to pick Amanda. I believe that she has a pretty competent ground game that I think is going to be able to defend off a high-tier onslaught by Alencar. Alencar, I'll be honest, I'm botching her name left and right, so apologies. I just feel like if we're talking striking, Amanda's got a clear advantage. And you look, Talita's last fight, it was a draw against Luciano on the actual Contender Series where she wasn't signed. This is now a fight that she's got brought in for against the Invicta FC atomweight champ. Amanda did good work fighting against Denise Gomes a couple years back. Even though she lost that fight, it was fairly competitive, and Gomes is a pretty terrifying prospect. So I think that Amanda should win here. I'm going to say decision win.
Alencar is the #1 female fighter out of the Caribbean. Do I have that right? The Caribbean? Am I saying that right? I could be messing that up. I think she doesn't have enough experience. If you look at who she's fought, it's not that good versus, coming in here against Amanda, right? I do believe that Dos Santos is going to have that edge when the fight gets tough, that edge when the fight gets to the second and the third round. And you said it as well. She's got striking, but she's also got grappling. I mean, Dos Santos or Amanda, as she's listed here, I don't know. She got 5 names. What's going on?
I was thinking the same thing.
She's got a lot of submission wins. That's generally how she wins her fights. So that actually shows to me competence. And if I look at Alencar's record, I don't see anybody in the ballpark of Dos Santos here. So you've got to think that Dos Santos is going to win this one. I'll say decision. You could be the best Caribbean fighter around, but that's like being the state champ of Rhode Island. You're going to run into the state champ of California and get your ass whooped. I feel like Dos Santos has to be the lean here.
Yeah, Amanda for the win. Both of us on the same side. I like the fact that she's got a lot of submission wins. It aids in the confidence against a grappler, especially with her. I think just being more well-rounded, more experienced, better striker. -150 for Amanda, where Alencar is +130. If you're going to throw down on this ladies fight, I like the money line more than anything else. I do think it probably goes over 2.5, but I wouldn't lay it down at -180, man. I wouldn't try to attack it. Amanda decision +175. I'll be honest, I almost just instinctually dropped the fucking Gianni the Greek impression from the live streams when I'm talking about the chalk. That's funny, man.
Go for it, AJ. We want to be entertained, man. I like the impressions. I don't mind that. Yeah, I mean, is this what you want to bet on, folks? Like, I could be convinced by somebody who watches a lot of tape on these two ladies and comes in really educated on it. But if you're just going to throw something out there, I would rather have more reliability on the side, right? I feel like I'm betting against Alencar a little bit more than I'm betting for Dos Santos. Be careful with that.
Listen, I'm going to call in Gianni the Greek's pick, man. Let's see.
Go ahead.
Hopefully he's on the opposite side, man. Listen, I'm going Alencar. It's the underdog this week. We're looking at +130. I'm going to throw it down. We're going to make cash, guys. I'm laying the chalk. We're going to win again. That's a live stream special, bro. I don't think you ever seen that, Fidge.
That is tremendous, AJ. That is tremendous.
Listen, if Gianni's going Alencar, I think me and Finch got the lock of the week right here with Amanda. So we're good to go.
Done.
We're good to go. Done. Set. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card. We got Tatsuro Taira versus Carlos Hernandez. I'm looking at it as a pretty simple, X + Y = Z type of thing. Whereas I have Taira with a clearly better grappling game. Hernandez, decent enough in the grappling and scrappier in the striking, but I don't think he's going to have any threats on the ground to submit Tatsuro Taira. Like if you look at Edgar Chairez having the success there, it's because he threatened with the guillotine. And if you look at Hernandez on the other side, he got submitted in the first round by Nascimento. And I think Tatsuro Taira is super live to get a submission here too. So I'm riding with him, man.
I've called Carlos Hernandez's fight in the Extreme Fights in the Extreme Fighting Organization. I saw him come up from an amateur on the local scene in Illinois all the way up through. He's a very technical striker. He absolutely has a pathway on the feet to win a decision by outpointing Tatsuro Taira. My issue is, how can I ignore the Nascimento fight? How can I ignore the outstanding grappling ability of Tatsuro Taira? We have to think that if Tatsuro Taira gets a hold of Carlos Hernandez, which, let's be honest, extremely likely, he's going to be able to drag him to the ground, take his back, and potentially strangle him. I mean, yes, there is a pathway for Carlos to defend, get back up on his feet, but the reason why I can't go with the local guy who I should probably be picking, just based on the fact that we're Facebook friends, is because Tatsuro Taira is much more likely to finish than Carlos Hernandez is. AJ, if Carlos Hernandez had a lot of KOs on the feet, super dangerous hands or something, that would be different. He's going to be hard-pressed to finish a Tatsuro Taira. Let's say he catches him with a nice, clean shot. It's going to be hard to jump into that guard and finish him when there's such a discrepancy on the ground. And again, we saw the Brazilian really control him and dominate on the ground here. Tatsuro Taira might be young, but he is definitely strong on the ground, and his technique is top-notch. You got to think Tatsuro Taira wins this fight. I'll pick submission.
Minus 600, so big favorite. Plus 425 for Hernandez. And then looking at Taira to get the win by sub, we are at plus 100, so it is plus money still. He has won decisions, though, which is like, just a little bit of something to maybe consider, like, dang, Hernandez, tough guy, a little bit scrambly on the ground. But the fact that Nascimento found his back and strangled him, I'm like, Taira's got 15 minutes to do it. I don't know if he'll do it as quick as Nascimento, but I think he's live to pull it off.
Covert's in the chat trying to say that Taira struggles with Mexicans. Brother, he's undefeated. What are you talking about?
Well, Chairez did give him a tough fight.
Sure.
Chairez, tough Mexican, but different style, though. Very different style.
Yes. Each fight, don't give me he struggles against Mexicans. Get the fuck out of here. I think that this is a nice matchup for Tatsuro Taira. I'll be rooting for Carlos Hernandez. Let's go, Illinois. I want to see it go down, but I got to pick with my brain. My brain says that Tatsuro Taira gets a hold of him, drags him on the ground, takes his back, and strangles him.
Let's go. Same side. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, it's Stephanie Egger versus Luana Santos. I'm picking Stephanie Egger to win this fight here against the 23-year-old. I'm just not sold on Santos just yet. Stephanie Egger has a win over Eileen Perez by submission, and I know she had a pretty bad loss to Alexieva last time, getting caught in the rolling knee bar. That is like such a low percentage technique to see, like in a back-to-back spot. Santos definitely solid enough with the jiu-jitsu, but I think it's, harder to catch Egger in a sub aside from like something you really don't see coming like that knee bar. And I'm not sold on Santos just yet, as young as she is. And even though she got a TKO win over Juliana Miller, I didn't really love the, actual striking style that she brought to the fight. I think Stephanie Egger is competent and difficult to deal with, and I can see her taking a decision. I'm going underdog.
Man, tough one for me. This is a harder ladies fight for me to pick because Santos actually does have lower body submissions. She's finished leg locks, AJ. She's got 2 of them on her pro record. So I know it's I think you call it obscure or like a rare submission to see.
Yes.
Kinda actually, could happen. So interesting enough, right? She's a bit of a Frank Mir in that sense where she will attack your legs, and Egger's had trouble defending those long ass legs that she's got. With that being said, Egger is much more experienced, so it's tough for me to go to tell you to go bet on Luana Santos when she doesn't have. She's got 1 UFC fight, albeit a nice win over Juliana Miller, one where she was able to get the finish in the first round. I like that, but her at minus 200, am I really going to tell you to go run out and bet on her? I don't know, man. It's a tough pick for me. I'd be cautious on this one if you're betting either way. I think Santos probably gets Egger, but am I confident in it? No. So slight lean to Santos, but just the fact that she's a favorite is enough for me to walk away from this one.
As far as the odds, Santos now, the line is actually dropped a bit, -161 with Stephanie Yeager as a +141 underdog. This fight to go over 2.5 is -148. And if Santos were to grab a submission, you're looking at only +215, whereas the Egger win by sub is +325. If you're touching any line here, at least me personally, I think it would be more so on just the dog or pass, or just completely skip past this fight as far as betting, in my opinion, regardless of we're on opposite sides of the picks. I don't know. The Santos side, like you said, is a favorite here, unproven against anybody. I think Egger's got a fair shot at the least.
There you go. Of course, Egger's got a black belt in judo. She's very good from an overhook. She's good on the fence. I mean, there's definitely a pathway for her to win this fight. I don't doubt her. I'm just going to watch this one and keep my money in my pocket.
You know what's interesting? I'm waiting for this Dana White news to drop that he's supposed to be doing at 11, they said, but nothing's coming out. And I'm getting worried that his whole news announcement that he was going to drop, I know the people in chat know what I'm talking about too. This might have just been the Cybertruck thing. Like, he may have just trolled the hell out of us. Everybody's thinking we're getting a UFC 300 main event or something like that. As of right now, he's 38 minutes late. I don't know if anything's coming out.
What do you mean Cybertruck thing? What are you talking about?
Like, if you go and sign up at the Nitro Circus website, there's a Cybertruck sweepstakes for Elon Musk's thing. And then if you watch the actual, event, then they'll, drop like a little code on screen. You type it in, and when you sign up, you get 10 extra entries or something like that.
Okay. I want a Cybertruck. Could I get a Cybertruck? Elon, could I get a Cybertruck? I got to drive kind of far to work now, so an electric truck, that sounds fucking awesome.
Electric truck. I hope that one of us wins, man, because I am going to sign up for it.
I've been watching Elon dropping the Cybertruck too, so that wouldn't be bad news. Dana rolling up to the event in the Cybertruck with Elon. That's cool, man. No, I think he's gonna drop a pick, AJ.
All right.
Sorry, not a pick, a fight.
Well, I'm hoping it comes soon, man. I got my eyes on Twitter right now.
Tai asks, can we spar/roll for my birthday? I will fly out and buy you Benihanas if I lose. When you lose, Tai, what do you mean? If I've been grappling, rolling/sparring for 23 years, all right? It's when you buy me Benihanas. And of course, come see me at UFC Gym Huntington Beach or UFC Gym Rosemead or Art of Jiu-Jitsu, really. Let's get it.
Let's go. Let's see. Fly out to the Finch. Let's see if somebody shows. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Steve Garcia versus Melquizael Costa. And I'm telling you, Mike, I'm not seeing any resemblance between you and Garcia. It's like saying me and Costa are doppelgangers here. I got
it. Hang on. Is that better?
Twins.
You starting to see it?
I see it 100%. That's it. Twins.
See it now? All right. I saw Zero Balance hating on me because I don't have cauliflower ears. Sorry that I'm fucking immune and I got phenomenal ears. Okay, haters. Yeah. You wish you could grapple your whole life and not have cauliflower ear. So I got good genetics, man.
Is that a real genetics on the ears?
I don't know. I try not to grind my head against other, you know what I mean? Like some guys will put their forehead forward. I'm always framing them. Get the heck off of me, man. I'm not here to be like a bullfight or something. This is I'm trying to make them quit via tapping the mat. I don't need to go buck to buck like we're elk.
That's fair. No elk jits for the Finch, man. But what about here, Mike?
Some people grind their head, like Randy Couture. You'll see different guys. Cain Velasquez is good at this. He'll put his forehead in your ear. I don't play that game, friends.
Melquizael Costa is the game I'm playing. I'm picking him to win here over Steve Garcia. I picked him last week. I'm picking him again. Difference is this is at 55, no longer 45. Garcia pulled out last week due to illness. And we got the rebooking, and I think Costa could TKO.
I mean, Garcia is always live for a KO, but Costa's a more well-rounded fighter, and knowing that Garcia is the one that had to reschedule, it just cements the confidence in Costa. Did the line move? I bet, right?
Let's see here. I was just looking at a cow getting hit by a train, man. I got Twitter open. I got crazy shit going up.
Fuck are you? What is your feed, bro? What is your feed? AJ,
Minus
what are
240.
you watching? What are you feeding this algorithm that you watching
Now,
cows get mauled by trains?
you don't want to know. You don't want to know. Minus 240, Melquizael Costa. Plus 205, Steve Garcia. As far as Melquizael Costa to get the knockout, my official pick, plus 145 too.
Revenge Fight Club, I appreciate that. Yes, I did call Figgy to win last week, but the picks weren't super hot. You know what I mean? You ever play that game on VR? Super hot. My picks were not super hot, so can't take too much credit, but I'll take that one. Thank you. Yeah, we got to go Costa in this one, AJ, right?
Yeah, we have to go Costa.
Decision.
I'm going to say TKO. I'm saying he's not going to know.
If we see a diminished Garcia, yes, but I mean, I could see Garcia trying to get the knockout here and Costa playing it a little safe. Interesting fight for sure. Costa's generally, well, that's actually a lot of knockouts now that I pull it up. I think he's a decision guy, but yeah, 7 knockouts, 6 submissions, 7 decisions. So fair enough. He actually is a finisher. Forget what I was going to say. All right, fair enough. I was thinking decision, and you ain't going to sway me, AJ.
Fair, man. So the over 1.5 rounds then is something pretty viable for you at minus 115, bro.
I mean, yes, but probably not going to see this one in the parlays. You know what I'm saying?
Fair. Listen, I last tweet I'm bringing up until Dana White. I got New York Post with some shit that is terrible for me to see, man. Exercise may not be the key to living longer. It might even be aging you faster. What type of shit is this? What are we putting out there? Is this the encouragement for the masses to sit down all fucking day? Holy shit. New York Post, fuck off.
Damn. And the New York Post is actually decent. Those were the people that put out that Hunter Biden laptop story that got censored by Twitter. The New York Post is like the reason Elon Musk finally bought Twitter and made it his X thing. So, interesting New York Post. Folks, exercise.
Let's keep running up the card. Next fight on the card, we have Shannon Ross versus Hyun Sung Park. Now, Shannon Ross is on a 3-fight losing streak. Last 2 are knockouts in a minute or less. Actually got knocked out in 17 seconds by Jesus Aguilar last time out. And Park is a pretty good finisher in the first round. I'm expecting Park to run over Ross. I don't think it should be a competitive fight at all. Obviously representing the road to the UFC as well. Park being the winner of a recent season there for the flyweights. And I feel like Shannon Ross at this point, he's being used as a stepping stone to build Park up. I'm going to say it should be a first-round submission.
It's going to be a first-round execution. And guys, the line's not that crazy. I mean, you're getting the undefeated Park at 2-1.
No. It's not, bro. That's probably the other Park.
No way. No. I'm
6-1 I got over here.
What do you got?
I got 650 to 1.
Okay, that sounds more like it. I'm on Tapology right now, minus 220 versus Shannon Ross. They just fucked up.
The Tapology sometimes doesn't update, man. We got a dono quickly in chat. The Bob. Thank you for the 199. I'm quitting exercising and investing in Twinkies. That's what the New York Post would tell you to do.
That's what they were saying. They were saying Twinkies is the answer. Listen, folks, if you want to live longer, I got your back. I'll see you at UFC Gym Rosemead. I'll put you through some workouts and we'll get your ass in shape. And if you really want to look at ways to live longer, there's lots of research in it because rich people want to live longer. So they make sure to invest in those types of studies. My favorite doctor in this area is Dr. David Sinclair. That's Dr. David Sinclair. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you've already found where you could find Dr. David Sinclair. You're welcome.
Let's go, Finch, man, with some knowledge for us. Listen, Finch, Park is a minus 650 favorite. And Shannon Ross is either getting knocked out or submitted here. And I'll anticipate it's going to be a 1-round fight. The odds for the money line are parlay only at minus 650. But as far as Park to win by submission, I'm seeing plus 200. I don't think it's terrible at all.
Plus 200 for sub?
Yeah.
I don't like betting these fucking finishes, but now that I say that, he's going to sub him, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Park all day, folks. If it's 6-1, now it's getting a little unbettable.
Let's go. Well, listen, maybe a parlay piece. We know who's winning it. Park for the win. Next fight, let's keep running. We got Kenan Song versus Kevin Jousset. Listen, man, I think Kevin Jousset is a good prospect with an Adesanya-like kickboxing game. He's a city kickboxing fighter. And I think they need someone to find some success on the come up, especially at welterweight. You're looking at the guy. I think he knocks Kenan Song out. The fact that Adesanya fought him before, and I think that they're going to be able to pick him apart. I think they'll have the game plan. Song's got some pop in his hands, and honestly, he just beat Bedoya with a clean W by decision. A guy who seemed to be a decent prospect, but when you really look into that fight, I think Bedoya is levels below Kevin Jousset's technical kickboxing game, and I think Jousset can get a good W here. So I'm going to say Jousset. I'm actually going to call the KO too.
I was watching back and I watched that knockdown he had over Ian Gary. I'm like, oh shit. And then I remember, oh yeah, Ian Gary put him away. Right. So, interesting fight. I think Jousset is going to be happy because he gets to strike with Song. I don't know that Song is going to be like laying on the gas pedal for takedowns. So he'll probably be pretty comfortable because he's going to be on the feet. And I saw you brought it up in your other show, but the fact that that he spars with Israel Adesanya and he's over at City Kickboxing is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because he gets to look at people like Song. Song is a good striker. He's more powerful probably in the hands, but he's kind of stands in front of you. He'll switch stances a little bit, but I do think Jousset will be able. It reminds me of that Dave Chappelle joke, "Juicy Smoulier." You know what I'm talking about. I think that you would hit the nail on the head here, man. I think Song could be going to sleep. With that being said, it's an interesting one. Song's a tough opponent. He is a good striker. He's an interesting test. He could fight out of both stances, and he's experienced. So sort of an intriguing matchup. I'm excited to watch. Yeah, let's double up and say City Kickboxing gets the dub.
So let's look at this real quick. The odds. Kevin Jousset is a minus 130 favorite, and he opened up at minus 225 with Kenan Song as a plus 110 underdog here. Damn, bro. That's interesting to me. Jousset's a close money favorite like this. I think it's a great line. It's a high confidence call on my end. And I think minus 130 is beautiful, man.
Interesting, definitely. I mean, are you concerned about the experience of Mr. Song? Will he sing?
I'll say this.
Fight night? Because I'm seeing one MMA fight and a UFC fight. Obviously, the Kiefer Crosby performance was nice, but one fight and then you're going to step in there against a vet. Is it bettable?
I think at minus 130, yeah, close money line. I'm going prospect. I mean, you look at the trend, right? Ian Gary prospect took out Song. Jousset kind of seems to be cut from a high tier cloth. I think he could become a at least top 20 guy, but I could see him working his way up towards the rankings. Now, it's when I say things like this, it's like this could age horribly. This in 6 months
after last week, we're like, oh shit, I don't know.
Think so.
Yeah, we're doubling up on them. Let's go with it. Yeah, the line is pretty tight. So if you don't think Song can sing, then at least it's going to be a striking fight. I do like that. If you were putting Kevin up against a grappler, then I'd be sweating a little bit. Against Song, who's going to stand right in front of him, it's probably a good matchup for him.
Agreed. We're going Jousset. This is the featured prelim of the night. So Jousset's in a pretty big spot here as a city kickboxing prospect, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Next fight on the card, it's our main card opener. So if you guys haven't yet, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. André Muniz versus Jun Park. I'm picking Park to beat Muniz here in this fight. He has the wrestling edge. Muniz is not great with his offensive wrestling. Granted, he can get guys to the floor. Park pretty tricky with the hips. Also, Park's got a clear boxing advantage, and I also could see Park wearing on Muniz and finishing him later on in the fight. So I'm riding with the Park side to get the win. I feel as though Muniz, I don't want to say he was exposed. He had some sick W's on the come up when he broke the arm of Jacare, but then he went distance with Uriah Hall. Yes, controlling him in every grappling position, but Park is a different level. And I don't see Park getting subbed here by Muniz. And then I look at the striking. Muniz has always looked kind of slow on the feet. He's coming off a brutal loss to Brendan Allen and then a loss to Paul Craig thereafter. I think Park for the win.
Brother, the Iron Turtle. Are we not Iron Turtle fans? Do we need to get merch? I think we're Iron Turtle fans on this podcast because he is a well-rounded fighter. He's a good striker. He's competent. He's tough. And those are things that Muniz is not. I'll say it. Muniz got exposed. And it's not even a technique thing, although, come on, his striking is not great.
Shitty.
Not great.
Mediocre.
Mediocre's a compliment, bro. His jiu-jitsu's nice. His technique is very high level. But his heart, the Iron Turtle's made out of iron, man. And I don't see any form of metal surrounding Muniz. He's more of a mush. He's a little soft. He's a little breakable. You know what I mean? And it's not breakable in the fact that he has a bad chin. It's breakable in the sense of his spirit. Muniz can just, the fight starts not going his way, and the guy is just not able to overcome adversity. You know, there's some type of a dog we're talking about Mike Perry has inside of him, you know? There is no dog inside of André Muniz. None that he's shown, right? He's the type of guy who snitches when he gets arrested on his boys to the 5-0. He's the type of guy who just needs a little bit of interrogation and he folds. When you put him under pressure, he will fold. And I do think that Park is going to put his ass under pressure. So I got Iron Turtle all day in this matchup. I thought for sure when they announced this thing, it would be wide. Is Tapology lying to me? You hit me with the real odds.
-162 for Park, +142 Muniz.
All day, Iron Turtle over Muniz due to what beats inside of his chest. Iron Turtle ain't going to quit in this fight. I can't say the same about André Muniz. All due respect, because, you know, I don't try to hate too hard on a mixed martial arts fighter who goes in there and does the hardest thing you could possibly do, which is step in front of everybody in the world, your mom, your kids, right? Whoever, and put yourself on the line the way they do. I got mad respect for him, but there is a difference. And the difference is that the Iron Turtle is the tougher man.
Iron Turtle money line. You interested?
I'm going for it, AJ. I am slamming Iron Turtle money line.
Yeah, I like the call too, bro. We're on the same side, Iron Turtle, and I like the confidence here that you got for the Iron Turtle. Let's keep running up. Next fight on the card, we got Nasrat Haqparast versus Jamie Mullarkey. I'm picking the side of Jamie Mullarkey to win here. I feel as though Nasrat Haqparast gets a lot of hype, but like I'm always slightly underwhelmed with the performances. Nonetheless, won against Landon Quinones last time. Mullarkey coming off of a real razor-thin win over John Makdessi, who actually gave a hard fight to Nasrat Haqparast too. I just feel like there's a chance for Mullarkey to pull this thing out. I think he can win a hard-fought decision here over Haqparast. Not a ton of power on Haqparast this side. Little bit of size and reach from Mullarkey. I think he's got a chance for a decision. I don't know. I feel like for some reason Haqparast is like in the -200 range as a favorite, but I don't think he's that much to the level up. I don't see it. I think that Mullarkey's going to win.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You get fooled once, you can't get fooled again. That is George H.W. Bush, and he was talking about the time that he bet on Jamie Mullarkey. Okay? Jamie Mullarkey has disappointed me enough, AJ. Damn it. I can't get my heart broken again. Okay? I don't know how you can go back again and pick Jamie Mullarkey, but you burned me enough, Jamie Mullarkey. It's a really close fight. I won't be betting on it, but I'm going to take Nasrat Haqparast because I believe in the future a little bit more than I do with Jamie Mullarkey, who I thought had better defense, who I thought was a good striker, and just seems to be hot and cold, man. You know, just seems to be not the type of guy you would bet on. And I'm here on a betting show, so I'm not telling you to bet on Jamie Mullarkey. AJ, tell the people straight-faced, should they bet? Bet. They're hard-earned money.
Sure. Plus 150. They shouldn't. If you want to, plus 158. You got good odds for Jamie Mullarkey in a competitive fight against Nasrat Haqparast. I think he can take it. I like the underdog side. Personally, I think it's worth touching a bit. I think there's a real chance that it could come through. I'm going with the side of Mullarkey, man. And I'm not full of shit here. I'm being honest, man. No Mullarkey out of this mouth. I'm picking the side of Jamie Mullarkey to win as an underdog. Truthfully, man, I think he can win this fight.
Respect. I mean, I've picked him before because I see what his capabilities are. I know that he's got some striking to him. I know he's a long guy with good cardio. He's taking some fucking damage too. But yeah, him losing some of these he shouldn't have lost. I mean, Muhammad Naimov, right? The Jalen Turner knockout was so nasty. He's got some nice little dubs here though. Francisco Prado is a good one. John McDessie, I guess, is okay. But yeah, Nasrat Haqparast, honestly, another guy who we could call him a little overrated. I mean, I think you kind of alluded to that before. I've heard you say that about our friend Nasrat. The problem is I picked Bobby Green over Nasrat when a lot of people were picking him. I picked Dan Hooker over him when a lot of people were picking him. So the fact that he beat John McDessie too, I'm not surprised. Landon Quinones, okay, a little bit better of a win, but I don't know. I'm not going to touch it, and that's how I really feel about it, folks. So I'll be on the other side on this one, but I think Mullarkey could win this fight, of course, but we're talking about a guy who does not always perform the same. That's not the type of person I like to bet on.
When you were saying the fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, or fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, when you said that, I thought you were joking around because Nasrat Haqparast and Kelvin Gastelum look identical. And last week, Gastelum fooled us. So I thought that's where you were going with this thing. But
they do look identical for sure. They definitely they share some ancestors, and it's not that far back.
Not that far back, no. Hey, shout out to Lane with the $2 dono. Good picks, guys. Gonna be a much better week. I agree. I like that you use the O for better because it's betting time, and I appreciate you with the $2, Lane. Much love, Lane. Big W.
Thank you, Lane. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're hoping so. Full disclosure, okay? Da-dun-da-da. I didn't bet last week because I know that some cards are better for betting than other cards, and I could smell it in the air. It was not the type of card that I wanted to risk my paycheck on. This one, however, I'll be betting this week. And not every other week this year, but I mean, generally I'm betting on these cards. Last week, just, we always pick all the fights for you guys, but I try to communicate very often on fights that I will not bet on. Last week didn't make me jump out of my seat to go bet on anybody, So this week I will throw some money down. You guys will hear it at the end of the show.
I got my ass kicked, man. Because I did go after Gastelum. I did try to run it up with a parlay with Soriano through the main card.
Did you put high capital?
A couple $100 each.
Oh, AJ!
It was bad. It was bad.
Holy shit. See, you guys get the donos rolling for AJ, and he gets a little confident, okay? He gets a little loose with your money, folks.
Oh, shit.
All right.
Yeah, that was rough, man. I'm bouncing back with a vengeance.
Yeah,
we'll get back. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, it's Sumudaerji versus Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott's a short notice replacement here, and this couldn't be a better stylistic matchup for him. I think the chain wrestling attack here is a clear path to victory. A guy with as many fights as Elliott and as much UFC experience, I expect him to be in shape on short notice. Sumudaerji is a guy that I just don't, I don't want to say I don't have much hype in, but like he's got kickboxing for sure, and he's got a good straight shot. But I see him getting taken down left and right. If Tim Elliott can put Mokaev on his back and have success from top, imagine what he does to a kickboxer. Elliott all day.
Yeah, we'll go Tim Elliott here. Interesting. Give me the line on this one since I can't get the freaking lines. By the way, You have a site. Well, we don't need to promote any sites, but AJ, after the show, you got to put me on so I can get some reliable odds. Obviously, I can go where I bet. I guess that would be more legit.
I'll shout out Fight Odds. They do a
Yeah?
great job. FightOdds.io is an overview of all of the lines. I mean, granted, not every bookie, but a significant amount of them, and they're updated constantly. I see them updating as I'm doing shows, so that is a big W, man. Fight Odds is on their shit. I just wish they had a button that I could make parlays on Fight Odds for. Before I read the lines, though, Trent P, thank you for $1.99. We appreciate you. Big Elliott for the win. I love the Elliott call. And if you guys watched this week's Best MMA Bets, you already knew that. But for those that, didn't, hey, now you know. Tim Elliott for the W is sitting at -133, whereas Sumudaerji is a +113 dog. I like the close money side of Tim Elliott to win, even on short notice here.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look too bad in his last outing, and he did lose via submission to Muhammad Makayev, but the Victor Altamariano win was nice. Tagir Ulanbekov, that's a big one. Remember him upsetting Tagir Ulanbekov? Khabib was pissed. So, yeah, Tim Elliott's an OG, man. Don't let that record fool you. 19-13. Yeesh. Okay? Yeesh. That looks ugly, but look at who he's been fighting. I mean, Tim Elliott fights much of the best fighters in the world. I'll run through some of his losses. Mateus Nicolau, Brandon Royval, Oscar Oskarov, Davison Figueiredo, Mighty Mouse. Like, brother, he's losing. He might have 13 losses, but the opposition he's seeing has let him come up to a high level. I guess I'm not as confident as you are in Tim Elliott. I think it's a good fight. I think they go to a decision. Maybe you do too. But yeah, I'll give Tim Elliott a lean here, 2 out of 3 rounds. And, I think he's going to use his experience in this fight. Not that Sumudaerji is not experienced, but at 36, he seems to be kind of on top of his game right now.
Listen, Tim said this, guys. Tim Elliott's saying that, but you're going to go to your bread and butter. We've heard guys say that before and shoot takedowns immediately. Trust. Tim Elliott's going to go to where he's most dominant and most comfortable at, and that's taking people down. And expect it here with Sumudaerji, especially short notice, too. He's going to be wrestling. Trust.
It's so gone by now, but Mitchell Hooper talking about women's MMA in the comments. It's not a joke to bet because you get people, you get women who really are bettable, and they're not the average fight. I wouldn't bet on the average female fight, right? But you get like Erin Blanchfieldov. You get Patchy Mix's girlfriend. I interviewed her. Wow, am I
Tatiana Suarez? Yeah,
Tatiana Suarez. You get Tatiana Suarez. You get different women's fights that are bettable. So you can't hate on women's MMA like that, Mitchell Hooper. This is I would rather bet on those women than I would on this fight. Sounds like AJ's more confident than me, though. We're both on Tim Elliott.
Let's go. Tim Elliott for the W. Let's keep running. Co-main event, we have Anthony Smith versus Khalil Rountree Jr. I'm picking Anthony Smith to win. I think he has a legitimate chance to submit Khalil. I know a lot of people are high on Khalil right now. His knockout power is legit. 2 fights back, Dustin Jacoby gave him a very difficult outing, and Khalil got a considerable gift. Some will say he won a slightly controversial decision. Anthony Smith is still top caliber. He still is a good striker. I know he's coming in on short notice. He also has a clear grappling advantage. I think people do forget Rountree struggled on the ground before, and I can see Anthony Smith submitting him. I'm picking Smith by sub.
Yeah, Smith as a 2-1 dog here is kind of messing with me because there's a very obvious pathway for Anthony Smith to win this fight. That's getting to the top position. That's grappling. Yes, Khalil Rountree could knock him out. Khalil Rountree does a great job knocking people out who engage with him too much on the feet, but you don't necessarily have to. He's good at knocking out like Modestas Bukowskis or let me pull up some of these. Chris Dawkins is going to strike with him. Yeah, of course. Dustin Jacoby was a split decision. Carl Robertson. These people are going to strike with him. If you look, like Ian Kutalaba mounted him and got him out of there, right? Like that's the type of shit you could see Lionheart doing. So as a 2-1 dog, it's interesting. Yes, Khalil Rountree is live for a KO, but you're going to put him in as the favorite. Fuck it. I'll go Lionheart, and I'll take Lionheart via TKO from Mount, just like Ian Kutalaba did. cautious, folks. AJ's betting triple digits. I'll put up a little caution sign and say that that Khalil Rountree is a little dangerous on the feet here for a Lionheart Smith, especially where Anthony Smith is in his career. With that being said, all that experience Anthony Smith has got, now I do believe that he could be smart enough to grapple in this fight, and one takedown might be all he needs, AJ.
One takedown might be all he needs. I think it may very well be all he needs. I'm expecting the side of Anthony Smith to be difficult, man, to deal with for Rountree. It's like every name you listed off, Anthony Smith smokes. He beats them all. And I think that he's being overlooked a bit because of a controversial-ish decision with Ryan Spann, who is dangerous as they come. And then you look at the fight before, I mean, he's losing to Johnny Walker, still by decision. And if you remember, Walker had a quick knockout with elbows of Rountree some years ago. Fight before that, he loses to, Magomed Ankalaev by TKO. It's a top caliber name. I think that Smith is so live to win this, man. I'm picking the side of Smith for the W. And I think at plus 189, I think he's a great underdog here. Win by submission, I also think is live at plus 500. Finch likes plus 500 win by TKO. Smith, just inside of the distance, is in the plus 275 range.
This is a fight I could see inside the distance. This one makes a lot of sense for me to be a finish, because if Khalil Rountree gets the dub, most likely it's a big-ass hook on the jaw of Lionheart. And if Lionheart gets the dub, it's probably because he gets to the top position and has a sense of urgency to get this thing over with. Rear naked strangle or TKO from mount. I think this fight's going to finish, and I think it's going to finish in the first or the second round.
I like it, bro. We're on the same side. We're going underdog Anthony Smith in the co-main event. Let's jump to the main event. If you guys haven't, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We have Song Yadong versus Chris Gutierrez. Maybe I'm against the grain. Maybe I'm an odd duck. Maybe I'm a little bit nuts or even delusional. But I think Chris Gutierrez can win a decision here. Ripping at the legs of Song Yadong, staying on that bicycle, which I know Gutierrez has the ability to go long with. I see him potentially having success ripping at the legs and counter striking a Song Yadong, who definitely punches hard, but I think is going to be at a distant striking disadvantage. I guess I'm also not ready to cut off Chris Gutierrez as like still a legit contender right now. And maybe I'm less than sold on Song getting the win. I'm going to pick Gutierrez for an upset, and we're going to end up seeing it going long.
Chris Gutierrez is underrated for sure. I mean, Chris Gutierrez is a real problem. I've definitely heard a lot of good things about him from people that he trains with out there in Colorado, like my boy Motaz Oscar. Shout out to my Palestinian brothers, the Oscar brothers, and they get to train with him all the time. And they have definitely nothing but good things to say. So we've seen it in the UFC, right? He's got great kicks. He definitely has a pathway to beat Song Yadong. I mean, there is a strategy here. But can you tell where I'm going with this one? You kind of feel me building this one up, right? Song Yadong could win this fight by knockout, AJ. I like the matchup for him because really what he has to do is press forward. And that's what we've been needing to see from him. When he dropped that decision to Corey Sandhagen, it was I think a cut was his problem. But, that forward pressure was really the key to beating a Corey Sandhagen, a distant striker. He's got a training camp under him to do that, and he looked really good against Ricky Simone. I like the youth. I like his ability to finish the fight a lot better. Again, there is a pathway for Gutierrez, and if the odds are super wide, which I believe you're telling me they are, that's interesting, and I like that you're thinking outside of the box, and AJ doesn't care what you think. AJ is trying to break you guys down the fight the way he sees it, not the way that you guys see it. And I'm just telling you, AJ, I think this kid has got much better hands, and I do think it's a range problem. I think that Song Yadong can close that range. He's technical enough to do it. He's tight enough to do it. The only real issue I see for him is he has to defend his lead leg. If Song Yadong can simply check some kicks, move in and out, put some pressure as well, I do see Song Yadong landing big shots in this fight. Chris Gutierrez is legit, and the odds might be a little wide to bet on this one. I like Song Yadong, and I'm going to pick him to finish Chris Gutierrez because he is going to be in a fight where Chris Gutierrez does engage with him where he is strongest?
Minus 370 for Song Yadong, plus 295 for Chris Gutierrez. For Song Yadong to get a KO, we're at plus 120, whereas Gutierrez by KO is plus 700, and a decision for Gutierrez is all the way up at plus 552. I guess I'm going the 3-1 dog in this fight. I definitely see the actual fight is a lot closer than the line should be. I feel like it's more competitive than that. And I'm very curious to see how this fight actually plays out when they close that cage door. Because I feel like Chris Gutierrez has got good kicks, man. And I think he could really slow Song down. So if he's able to survive, an early, powerful onslaught and even, take a real good shot from Song, we'll have a better idea how this fight's going to end up turning out. And if he's on those legs early, as we head into the second, third, and fourth round, Gutierrez could really take over.
I see that pathway, but AJ, would you agree with my assessment that it's a narrow pathway? Gutierrez has to kind of be on his A game and slam these calf kicks in there. If he doesn't, he's not quite as strong. He's not quite as good at grappling, I don't think. He's definitely not as good with like pure punching power. The boxing might not go his way. It seems to be a rather narrow window of opportunity. Do I have that right?
I think you do. I'm totally understanding your side. I understand that people picking Song. I guess, in my mind, I still have thoughts like, okay, just a few years ago, Song Yadong took a loss to Kyler Phillips. He was real competitive with Casey Kenny. Chris Gutierrez, I still think is a tricky stylistic matchup, but we're going to find out when they close that cage door who's got it nonetheless. And I'm very excited to see.
That's the beauty, right? Chris Gutierrez coming in at 32. Song Yadong is 26, AJ.
That's crazy.
It must be mentioned that Song Yadong has to be the more likely guy to be improving and before our eyes, right? Chris Gutierrez, a little more seasoning on that steak. So I believe that Song Yadong will be impressive here. The kid's got a speed advantage, I think, too, brother. I can't be betting against my guy Song Yadong. I'm a fan, man, and what he did in his last fight, very, very impressive stuff, man. Ricky Simone, I got a lot of respect for. I thought that one would be close. I like him in the spotlight fight here. Now, I think this card, not the heaviest, most stacked card, but a cool spotlight for Song Yadong. This could be a career changer. If he can knock out Chris Gutierrez here, you could see him on a fast track, man. It's a nice spotlight for him. Glad he's getting it.
I got to say, I actually really like this card. I think the Apex is bringing heat, and I'm damn excited to see it. But you know what I'm even more excited for? Moneyline lock of the night. Moneyline lock of the night for UFC Vegas 83. Mike, the cat's out the bag for mine because I dropped it earlier today on my This Week's Best in Bet show. I had to, my friend, just because the scheduling.
True.
But I'm picking Tim Elliott as the lock. I know people are going to say, what? I really think he's got a clear path to victory with a big wrestling edge. And I locked him up before, and I feel like I got to stick with somebody that I've had success with. I'm going Tim Elliott to get me back on track, man.
Okay, respect, brother, respect. Some of you guys who watch this full breakdown, which I think most of you do, when AJ looks at the metrics, you guys watch a long time, so we appreciate having loyal fans in here. I saw somebody say casuals are picking Song Yadong in your comments on your full card predictions video. Guys, casuals are not watching this card, okay? If you're watching the fight night between Song Yadong and Chris Gutierrez, you're a gangster, all right? There's no casuals in this freaking video right now. You right there, you know what you're talking about if you're watching this video. So I'm going to lock with a big fat ass padlock that I am happy to put down will be the Iron Turtle. I think Park is an absolute lock here against André Muniz. André Muniz looks very breakable to me, and the Iron Turtle don't break. The Iron Turtle has that shell, and nobody's getting through it. And I think André Muniz only has a Hail Mary submission in this fight. He's going to get outstruck, although he has a reach advantage. He doesn't know how to use it. I think he could get out wrestled here. And I think Park, we've seen Muniz even be submitted because he submits inside first. I think Park's too tough. It's a tough matchup for him. Park doesn't get the type of love he deserves. I'm big on the Iron Turtle in this fight. Hit him with a money line for my lock of the night.
The odds for Mike Finch's lock for the Iron Turtle is pretty solid at -160. On my side with Tim Elliott, we're at -133. Let's go, man. I think we're on to something this week with the locks, and I'm damn excited to see how they come through, Finch. You sound like you're the Mac of the lock week right now, and Ali Point VTV is Mac of the Dono right now, throwing us at $2. The motherfucking dynamic duo. Hey, thank you, Ali. You're a gem, bro. We appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, Ali. Thank you, my friend. And we are the dynamic duo, even on a Wednesday night. And Ali, I don't think I saw you say it, but I saw a couple people in the chat talk about they like the late time. I haven't talked to AJ about it yet, but this might work going forward. We'll talk about it off air. AJ, I'm going to try to convince you as soon as these cameras go off to keep a late night show because I'm feeling it too.
Okay. Listen, I don't hate it. We'll discuss soon.
No
Mike,
more bedtime for Florida, AJ, okay?
I'm not
staying up with your boy.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Listen, you know what I want to hear? I want to hear the parlays. So without further ado, parlay time.
All the competition that try to compete, stand back, watch the bomb drop.
Parlay time. Open up your wallets and let's bet on some fist fights. Mike Finch, you are the Mac with the parlays, parlay king himself. What do you got?
This week, we're going to bounce back with a nice little parlay here. Look, I thought the odds were a lot sweeter, okay? But I'm going to take Hyun Park against Shannon Ross because it's obvious, folks. All right, we're going to sprinkle it in there because Hyun Park over Shannon Ross seems to me to be the biggest mismatch on this card, and I'm liking mismatches in the UFC. When you see a big mismatch in Bellator, red flag. Those are sometimes the ones that blow up, right? In the UFC, far more rare to see that, right? That's like a once every 6 months, holy shit, what just happened? In the UFC, it just seems like Shannon Ross is not of that level. Park is of that level. So I'm heavy on the Asians tonight, bro. All right? Represent. Let's go. Give me Hyun Park. And look, I don't like that Steve Garcia had to reschedule this thing. I don't like that he's only got the striking advantage in the fight. So parlay up Hyun Park and Costa. And I'm so crazy that I'm willing to put my neck out there. All right. And that's a long neck, folks. All right. I do jujitsu. I use this thing. I'm putting this neck out there and adding both of the parks. All right. Give me the Iron Turtle. Give me Hyun Park and give me Costa in the triple parlay.
+167 for the Finchman's 3 savage calls that I think have a real good chance of hitting. I like where your head's at, Finchman, with the side of Park, with the side of Hyun Park, and with Costa. I'm on all of them. I'm on the same side as you as far as the picks. Now, as far as my parlay, I'm bringing it a little bit different. I'm going to go Hyun Park, and I'm going to go Kevin Jousset. I'm doing +106. Not as pretty, not as savage, but I do think it's another hitter.
Hey, man, I think we do got some hitters here, folks. I think we're about to bounce back nicely. It's time to start a little streak again, bro. Me and AJ were on some streaks. Time to start running it back up. We're going to get 2024 streak started now. This card kicks it off. Let's go Asian pride. All right. We're with our Asian brothers.
Let's go. Listen, the Asian brothers are with us. Let's see if they can pull through. Finchman, a Wednesday night show. I had a good time. I'm glad that we got to make it happen. At the end of the day, as long as it's at some point during the week, we're blessed to have it, you know?
Yeah, of course, man. I do appreciate you being flexible enough for me to change it, AJ. I think we could rock Mondays again as long as we're a little later. So if you guys like the late night parlay, drop it in the comments. And of course, for all you guys who watch late, if you want it back on Monday, let us know. Drop an M instead of a W, all right? W this time means Wednesday, okay? M if you want us back on Mondays. Me and AJ will figure it out. As always, we're keeping the content coming to you, and AJ loves to do this shit live. You know, I was talking, hey, maybe we could record it. Never in the books for AJ. He wants this shit live. We're going to be live coming at you. There's no cuts, all right? There's no let's redo this. We do this live all week, all the time for, I mean, how long we've been going now? 101 episodes? Is that what we're looking at here?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, dude. Holy
101.
shit. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. So,
Yeah.
thank you guys for sticking with us. Tell your friends, tell your family, get your mom watching the show, because we always appreciate our loyal listeners. And even on a Wednesday night, you guys were here to turn up. Thank you.
Yeah. The people, they knew I dropped a community post on Monday about the time shift, and then I went live and did a Q&A on Monday too. So all worked out well. Guys, keep it locked in here with the money line. Make sure you guys smash the likes, subscribe to the channel with the post notifications turned on, and not just on personalized. Put them on all so you don't miss a video, because I'm dropping more than just picks. I'm dropping some news reactions, and I even got creative, Mike. I don't know if you saw it, because the algorithm might not have pushed it because it's a different type of video than what I normally do. But I matchmaked for the entire lightweight division, all the way down, top 15, all the way up to the championship. So, guys, you know, keep your eyes peeled on everything. Also, check out Finch, man. Subscribe to him at Mike Finch, the Mike Finch Show on YouTube.
Let's do it. Yeah, I got the Cain Velasquez interview up if you haven't seen it. We were talking to people backstage, got more content coming. I'm going to start trying to get some of these, because I was hanging out with, did you see me chilling with Marab? You saw me with Marab?
Yeah, it was sick.
Marab, Giga Chikadze, the day before he got injured, the day before he tore his groin, Giga points me out. Oh, hey. I'm like, oh, shit. What's up, Giga? And then he was with Euros Medish. Which I was looking at him, and I'm like trying to place it. And I'm like, and I said his last name, and he smiled. So I saw all of them at UFC Gym, Huntington Beach. Marab was in town to train at King's MMA. And I think he was saying he was at another gym. I'm trying to remember the other gym. I was like, Marab, did you get to go to the beach? He said he did, man. Marab is the nicest human being. I swear to God. I said, Marab, I know Henry Cejudo. Could I send him a video? He was all about it. He had me do another take too. I said, Marab, I'm snapping a picture. He said, no, have somebody else take it. Like, so it's like a good picture. I'm like, oh my goodness. Marab is the nicest human being on earth. So good man. And wow, he could do a lot of pull-ups too. So Marab's in fucking shape, dude. What a good guy. Shout out to Marab Duvashvili for being an awesome human being. And he invited me to go train at Syndicate. So next time I'm in Vegas, AJ, me and Marab are scrapping.
Definitely. I think that'll be sick for you. And bro, I guess cat's out the bag now. You are the bad luck charm for Giga Chikadze. He ran into you. Next time he tears his groin. What are you doing to the fight, man?
No, I had nothing to
Bryce
do
Mitchell
with it.
stepped in, by the way. Bryce Mitchell's fighting him now.
Is that right? Okay. Got you. Flat Earth himself. Got you, man. Bryce Mitchell came out with something recently. Did you see? Maybe I just saw it recently. Where he's asked Michael Bisping. He said, "Tell me, do you believe we came from monkeys?" And Michael Bisping says yes. And Bryce Mitchell freaked out on him. First of all, we don't. It's not the best way to say it is not that we come from monkeys. It's that we share a common ancestor with monkeys. Bryce Mitchell is freaking hilarious, dude. You guys got to watch that video if you have not yet. And that's your homework, all right? Bryce Mitchell, Evolution, Michael Bisping. Hilarious. Bryce Mitchell stepping in sweet. Hey, all the best to Giga Chikadze. I did not tear his groin. Don't be out here spreading this. Was he sparring Marab when he tore his groin?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? You're going to blame me? You're going to blame me?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
People, we appreciate you all tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the Late Night Live. Finch, man, we'll see you next week. Much love to everybody watching. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.